This is Charles Joyner, and you're listening to the Carnage House.
So, Charles, you come in. You got a bit of bandage action on your leg. You fought about a week ago against I don't know how to. I'm going to get this wrong. I'm going to guess Sarmad Jahanara.
Yeah, I think Sarmad. I know for sure. Last name. Yeah, Jahanara, we'll go with that.
And we haven't actually, I feel a bit bad about this, we haven't actually been able to get to your last couple of fights, but you also had a win in March against, is it Milos Rastovic?
Yeah, Milos Rastovic.
Another tough unit.
Anyone from those Baltic countries you just don't mess around with, I think, in general. Those Serbian, Croat type operators.
Yeah, dude, any Slav, we're not fighting, I just feel like I got something to lose when
Two rules: you don't fight Slavs, and you don't fight guys with cauliflower ears. Safety tips.
Right. And how's your body feeling at the moment? Is your body feeling good? Because I know you have also booked another fight in probably 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks today. So yeah, Saturday. 3 weeks. But body's feeling good. Like I think it's just a conditioning thing now. Like after my first few fights, my shins and my feet would just be messed up. But now it just, like obviously straight afterwards I feel a bit sore. Then a few days of rest. Now I feel good. I think my defense has sort of improved and got better, so I'm not taking that too much damage with my shots. But
yeah. I mean, when we got to your first few fights, you had a pretty easy time against some of the opponents getting some finishes. Your last two have been decision wins, is that correct?
Yeah.
How's that been in terms of, it obviously means that some sense that you're fighting higher caliber guys.
Yeah.
How are you feeling in terms of your progression as a fighter against the higher level opponents?
Yeah. So I think, one of the main things I've been trying to do is I've been saying I've been trying to clear out Australia. So just clear out all of Australia and then go overseas, which has sort of worked out perfectly with COVID stuff. But I think, like say Milos, for example, that opponent in March, he was really experienced, and I'd just come off a knockout win the fight before in November, and I just sort of expected, like I was high on that confidence and sort of expected that I'd hit him with shots and he'd go down. But he old manned me, like sort of experienced me, and just like first 3 rounds I was piecing him up, but I think I just went a little bit too hard, and he just maintained a pace in the 4th and 5th, and then definitely won the 5th and probably won the 4th. So I won that one 3 rounds to 2. But in saying that, we like the quick finishes, but it's also like those 5 rounds were just valuable experience that you're not going to get from, like if I'm knocking everyone out in the first round, then what are you actually learning? And you start sort of getting high on that confidence. Same with this guy, Sarmad. I wanted to fight him because I was finding it really hard to find a fight, but then I knew that he's beaten a few people that I know and a few good people down here, so I knew that he'd sort of put his hand up straight away. And yeah, he was tough like I expected him to be. Obviously still wanted to get the finish, but 3 more rounds of experience in the book, so yeah, it's good.
You're obviously, it seems like you're picking up the pace in terms of action. Like, are you making a conscious decision to try and book as many fights as you can now, or are you waiting out, or are you just booking them?
It was sort of around, because of like the COVID situation, when everything got locked down, one of the first things to go was like fight shows, and because they're all pretty sort of government regulated that they weren't going to be putting them on. So during those few months when we weren't sure when fight shows were going to come on, I just made a conscious decision that when they do come back on, I'm just going to just get as many as I can, get as much experience as possible, and yeah.
When you're going into the 5th round of a fight like that, and you can feel yourself kind of losing energy in the tank, what's the mindset when you go in? Is it, we're still going to go try to piece this guy up, or are we going more defensive? Like, we have 3 rounds in the bank. What's the mindset like going into a 5th round like that?
No, it was interesting with that one, because I think I spoke about it afterwards, because I like to be open with like how my mind's sort of working, so then I can grow and develop from it. But because I hadn't been pushed to that point before, it felt like my mind was starting, like the cracks were starting to to show. Because like I just like it's like your mind's trying to make you survive. So your mind knows that, you know, I could just, if I quit now, this guy's not going to be trying to hurt me anymore. So it's trying to make you, it's trying to put those little thoughts in your head saying, oh, just, you know, just go down here. And because it hasn't been pushed to that point. So yeah, the mindset, I felt like the fifth round for me was more of a mental battle of me in my head going like, nah, come on, we're pushing through, like not listening to what those thoughts that were coming up. And then, yeah, just overcoming that. And then feeling like after that experience, you're like, you know, smoothing over those cracks. And now when I get pushed to that point again, I know that I can get through it. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to clear out Australia. You got your next opponent in July, Matt Stapleford. My guess is he would be pretty good if he's your next fight. What's he like, and what are you working on before you fight Matt?
Old Matty no knees.
Yeah, I saw you in your interview I watched on Instagram. Did he say you're not allowed to do knees in the fight?
Yeah, so basically with this guy, like on that last show, the promoter wanted me to fight this guy, Matt Staples. So he's I don't know if you guys came to the pro debut, right, in Bonnyrigg. I think just like it was like March last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a world title on that show. It was like, I don't know if you remember, it was like a few fights before mine.
Right.
Yeah, kind of
the guy looks familiar.
Yeah. So he was on that, and he won his world title on that show. And
in quotation marks.
What's
the quotation marks for?
It's just
fake belt.
We'll
Mickey
get
Mouse belt.
Yeah. It's just, you know. Yeah, it's not.
Mickey Mouse
WWE belt.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse no knees Stapleton's what I've called him
Yeah.
for a while.
Andy's going to get lined up after this interview. I'm looking forward to.
But yeah, so they wanted me to fight him on this last show, and he was saying that he needed a warm-up fight. Like, keep in mind, this guy's been around for years. He's supposedly a world champion, but he didn't end up getting a warm-up fight on the Saturday. So I ended up fighting, and now we're fighting in 3 weeks' time. So instead of him getting the warm-up fight, I've just had another fight before that. So it's like it's just a funny situation where he was just trying to duck me a bit, but then he sort of got strong-armed into fighting me in 3 weeks' time. Didn't want to put his world title on the line. And he's actually a training partner of Milos, and I hurt Milos a few times with my knees. So Matt said he'd only take the fight if we fought with no knees. So
is that standard at all, or is that like how unusual is that?
It shows the mentality, doesn't it? Because it's like in my head.
In terms of like the actual number of fights where kickboxing where there's no knees, what percentage do you reckon would be?
There's different disciplines of it. So there's different disciplines of striking. Like there's kickboxing variations where you can't throw leg kicks, like it's all above the waist, or there's variations where you can't throw knees, it's just hands and hand kicks. So, I mean, in Australia it's not that popular. It's more K1 or Muay Thai, and then obviously MMA, boxing. To be fair, his world title is in the variation of kickboxing with no knees. But then my point was, well, if we're going to do that,
put the title on the line.
Put the title on the line, but he didn't want to do that either. And we're fighting the exact weight that his title is. So for me, it just showed the mentality of it, because it's if I'm fighting someone that's got, you know, say a big right hand, I'm not thinking, oh yeah, mate, I'm only going to fight you if you put your right hand behind your back and tie it up and don't use it. I'm thinking of how am I going to, you know, shut that right hand down and then take your best weapon away and beat you with why you've got that best weapon.
Does he? But is there not someone from the body saying like you're fighting, you got to put the title on the line, like defend or vacate?
Nah, it's all.
Or is it just because it's not a
bit
real
of politics?
belt? Like,
do we need to go and do our own political hackery inside the kickboxing federations?
Yeah, I think you could, because it's still at this like low level stuff. And that's why I say like world champion, because it's not like, you know, it'd be like, say, someone in MMA fighting for a world title here and then claiming they're the world champion, but you know true and well that the UFC is the world champion. So you're not you're not really a world champion. You've just fought for a world title in this specific organisation, and of course there's politics involved. So, but my thought on it was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Take away, you know, that weapon which I use effectively in a fight, and all it's going to force me to do is level up and make everything else stronger. And then when I beat you without using that weapon, what are you going to say now? So.
Yeah, well, your knees have featured pretty strongly in some of your previous fights. Now they are some quite sharp weapons. But so in terms of clearing out Australia, is Matt kind of the last guy on your Australian list before you'd look to go more international fights?
No, there's obviously with this situation at the moment, like international travel is hard. There's obviously New Zealand as well, but I mean, there's a few other names of people, you know, that were offered the fight and they didn't want it. They wanted a warm-up fight. So I'm just going to keep calling them out and just getting more experience here. So then when I go on the international stage, I just
getting called out.
Let's do some call-outs. Let's do some call-outs of any names that you'd like to...
we'll leave them after my fight. Like, I've got it. I'll do it after the fight on the mic afterwards. It's,
all right.
But yeah, we'll do it then. At the moment, I'll focus on Matt Stableford.
Matt Stableton's getting called out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And before we go into our favourite alpha male segment of the week, first of all, just a quick comment. I like you. I feel like you've gone a bit more of a fighter haircut recently.
Oh, the mullet.
I like what you're doing on the back there. Is that a bit of intimidation tactics, or how did that happen?
No, it was I wouldn't say intimidation tactics. I just wanted to mix it up. Like, I was watching my fights and I was like, I just always look the same in all of them. So
how do the parents feel about it? Because your mum's one of the nicest ladies I've ever met in my life.
Well,
how does she feel about it?
I mean, she's accepted the fighting now, so it's just kind of like, just got to accept all that comes with it now.
What about tats?
They still go like, please don't get tats, but then I'm just...
What if you say, I'm a fighter, I got to do it. I don't have a choice.
Come see me in the ring, Dad.
Yeah, we'll sort it out there. No, I think they'd accept it now. They'd accept everything.
My favourite part about the haircut, still a little bit of business at the front. Still a little bit.
A little bit of business at the front.
A whole lot of party, but a little bit of business.
Yeah, well, it's important as well, right? You got to be.
Andy, what would you say your haircuts? What is it? How much party and how much business goes on in the quaff?
I would say that they coexist 100%. I would say in the quaff.
And then how much business, how much party at Epping Pub?
Well, it's been deprived of my presence recently because they know I'll go Charles Joyner mode on anyone in there who talks some smack.
Throwing knees straight up the middle.
Do you reckon Andy's got a frame for kickboxing?
No, yeah, 100%.
Do you reckon he has the mental... You've coached him a little bit in basketball, haven't you?
Or
High jump.
High jump. Do you reckon he has the mental toughness to do anything for an extended period of time?
Well, when you knew me at school, did you think I had the mental toughness to do it?
Yeah, bear in mind, me and Charles, we went and took out the biggest athletics carnival in the Southern Hemisphere together. So you don't be talking smack about me and my Triple Crown winnings.
We've gone to war together.
Little athletics down at Barton Park. And one more thing, let's just quickly touch on, well, I guess the reason actually you came over today was to pick up some podcast equipment, and the podcast that we're doing now is just something convenient. But what's your hopes for you're going to record a few things this weekend or in the coming days? What can people look out for?
Yeah. So we're going to start doing a podcast. So with my good friend Marty Strong, another old Kings boy, another high jumper as well. But we've just been talking about doing a podcast for a while, and I mean, if people had listened to me speak before, I like talking about mindset stuff and all stuff like that, and linking it to fighting and just life in general. So the main focus will be on that sort of stuff, and not from the viewpoint of saying that I've got it all figured out, but just that the podcast will be like a learning sort of experience for us as well.
Come along for the ride.
Yeah, exactly. See the whole journey unfold.
Very good. I like that a lot.
Are you doing it topless? Because I know Marty likes to get his gear off.
Because Marty's got a better rig than me, so I think we'll keep the clothes on. But we're not filming the first few, so
Marty helping you dodge any of the juice regulations in the in kickboxing.
No.
No. Love your work, Marty. Now, Alpha Male of the Week.